Myślenice i TV. Wasza telewizja internetowa.
HR Navigator. Pracujemy dla Twojej przyszłości. Sponsor międzynarodowych małopolskich spotkań z folklorem 2017.
Za chwilę rozpoczniemy sesję inauguracyjną 5. edycji, jubileuszowej edycji IOV Word Youth Congress, Światowego Kongresu Młodych Ludzi, którzy interesują się i którym szczególnie bliski jest temat kultury ludowej i niematerialnego dziedzictwa. Ideą kongresu jest spotkanie młodych ludzi, którzy we swoim towarzystwie mogą porozmawiać, jak wygląda ich dziedzictwo, w jaki sposób dziedzictwo, kultura ich definiuje. Mamy to szczęście, że podczas tegorocznego kongresu udział bierze około 35 osób z 11 krajów świata i to z tak różnych przestrzeni kulturowych, jak Senegal, jak Syria, chociaż jakby kraje europejskie, Węgry, Austria, ale także Senegal, no i Polska oczywiście. To jest taka możliwość, taka platforma wymiany właśnie tego poczucia wartości kulturowej. To jest bardzo ważne. 16 lipca zakończymy kongres taką sesją podsumowującą, podczas której zaprezentujemy taki dokument, który będzie zbiorem tych idei, tych myśli, w jaki sposób o dziedzictwie niematerialnym rozmawiać, w jaki sposób o dziedzictwo materialne się troszczyć. Myślę, że te doświadczenia tych młodych ludzi, którzy tutaj przyjechali, wniosą bardzo wiele w to myślenie właśnie o niematerialnym dziedzictwie. Myślę, że fantastyczne spotkanie to będzie wykład naszej przyjaciółki Bushry z Syrii, która powie o utraconym dziedzictwie Aleppo, powie o tym, jak w Aleppo, jak w Syrii na naszych oczach ginie dziedzictwo, ale jednocześnie powie również o tym, w jaki sposób ci młodzi ludzie z Syrii właśnie dbają o to, żeby to dziedzictwo zachować, żeby dla przyszłych pokoleń to dziedzictwo było jeszcze wyobrażalne, było jeszcze zauważalne, było jeszcze ważną wartością. Opowie o tym przez pryzmat mydła z Aleppo, które jest takim produktem regionalnym, takim elementem bardzo charakterystycznym dla tego miasta i sprzedaż na przykład tego mydła, dochód ze sprzedaży tego mydła przeznaczany właśnie jest na zachowanie dziedzictwa, na ocalenie tego dziedzictwa w kraju, który przecież targają wichury wojny. To spotkanie jest bardzo potrzebne. Ja się cieszę, że Polska po raz pierwszy, Małopolska, Myślenice jest gospodarzem tego wydarzenia i to by oczywiście nie było możliwe, gdyby nie wsparcie finansowe czy województwa małopolskiego, czy gminy Myślenice, czy praca bardzo wielu wolontariuszy, członków zespołu pieśni i tańca, Ziemia Myślenicka, Myślenickiego Towarzystwa Kultury, którzy są gospodarzami i gośćmi jednocześnie tego kongresu.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to invite you, I'd like to welcome you for the 5th IOV Word Youth Congress. It's a big pleasure to host you during the Congress, during the Festival International Folk Music Małopolska. We have the 8 countries which take part in our festival, from Peru, Paraguay, Kenya, and also Algeria and other countries. We have 11 countries participated in the Youth Congress, from Bahrain, Syria, Hungary, Senegal, or Vietnam. There is a very special guest today at our school, at our city, the president of the International Organization of Folk Art, Mr. Ali Khalifa. Mr. Ali Khalifa is from Bahrain. He is also the president of the World IOV Organization. He supports our Congress, our festival. So it's a really big thing for us that Ali, you are here with us. Thank you for coming. I would like to also welcome the Marshal of our region, Mr. Leszek Zezda, Małopolska Province. Małopolska Province is the main sponsor of our festival and also the main sponsor of our Congress. So thank you very much to support us. Before we start the conference, before we start the Congress, we have some special gifts, some special presentation for you directly from Poland. The group, which is the most important folk group in this town, Ziemia Myślenicach, please come on the stage. And they have some special gifts for you. Thank you for this presentation. It was the musician spirit of Poland, of our country. Now we also have another gift. Right now, some special movie from last 2 days of our festival. It's ready? Okay, so just watch.
Nam się taka wizja takiej wystawy już kilka lat rodziła w głowie. 2 lata obsługujemy już festiwal fotograficzny. Tak myśleliśmy, że fajnie byłoby coś zrobić, jak ludzie z całego świata przyjeżdżają tu do nas. My mamy trochę wolnego czasu i wspólnie z Piotrkiem i z Natalią, no i z Magdą siedzieliśmy, myśleliśmy i wymyśliliśmy taką koncepcję.
Dziś jesteśmy przy siebie zespołu Myślenicach Myślenicach i jesteśmy w trakcie właśnie warsztatów tańców przede wszystkim narodowych, ale także tańców regionalnych, takich troszkę też w formie zabawy, troszkę w ramach takiego rozluźnienia od codzienności. Mam nadzieję, że się wszyscy dobrze bawią.
Bardzo fajna inicjatywa. Przyszedłem trochę taki, nie wiedziałem co będę tutaj czego się spodziewać, ale właśnie jestem bardzo zadowolony, chyba mogę każdemu to polecić.
W tym momencie właśnie przyjechały do nas 3 zespoły z Kenii, z Paragwaju, z Peru. Ja będę pilotem z Paragwaju. Bardzo się cieszę, na razie są bardzo entuzjastycznie do nas nastawieni. No i zobaczymy, co będzie dalej.
W tym momencie trwają warsztaty tworzenia słomianych pająków, które prowadzi pan Jerzy Trwała. Natomiast to twórca z naszych okolic Wiśniowej, która również w tym roku jest partnerem festiwalu. Natomiast w tym roku można będzie również malować etniczne talerze, zrobić maskotki, które są takimi małopolskimi konikami. Będzie można nauczyć się robić wycinanki, no i oczywiście kwiaty bibułkowe.
And now this is the moment to open the Congress. I would like to ask the Marshal of our region on the stage to officially open the Congress, IOV Word Youth Congress, and also the International Folk Meetings Małopolska.
Drodzy nasi przyjaciele z całego świata, witam Was bardzo serdecznie.
Welcome everyone, friends from all over the world.
Kilka lat temu pojawiła się piękna inicjatywa w tym mieście kolejnego znaczącego festiwalu, międzynarodowego festiwalu Spotkania z kulturą.
A few years ago, in Myślenice, there was some organizing committee. They came up with the idea of international meetings with folklore.
Po tym jak widzę, jak Państwo reagujecie na to, co było na ekranie, idea ze wszechmiar udana.
When I see your reaction to what we saw in the video, I can see that you really like this idea and you are very enthusiastic about it.
To było piękne, co to było widać.
It was really beautiful.
Dzisiejszy świat woła o spotkanie kultur między sobą, ludźmi między sobą.
The world that we are living nowadays it craves for meetings, international meetings, different cultures.
Spotkanie ludzi z całego świata są bardzo potrzebne, ponieważ w obecnym czasie buduje się zbyt dużo uprzedzeń w stosunku do siebie wzajemnie.
It's very important nowadays because we are facing this situation with the lack of tolerance and different conflicts. So these meetings are very important for the peace.
Tymczasem, kiedy się spotykamy, to widzimy, że jesteśmy tacy sami, chodzimy na dwóch nogach, mamy oczy różnych kolorów, jesteśmy uśmiechnięci i życzliwi dla siebie.
And when we see each other, when we meet, we just notice that we are the same. We have two legs, we maybe have different colors of eyes, but we smile, we look at each other, and we are the same.
A tego tak naprawdę człowiekowi w życiu przede wszystkim potrzeba.
And this is the most important thing in our life.
I to musimy w sobie pielęgnować.
We have to cherish this thing inside us.
Po pierwsze, własną tożsamość i własne bogactwo, z którego wyrastamy.
First of all, our own roots, our identity.
A po drugie, zachwyt nad innymi i docenienie tego, kim oni są.
And second, the thing that we are very amused about other cultures and how they are different but also beautiful and great.
I dlatego ten festiwal jest taki ważny.
And that's why this festival, International Meetings with Folklore in Myślenice, is very, very important.
I dlatego dziękuję, żeście przyjechali.
And that's why we really thank you very much for coming here.
I że będziecie tutaj na tej konferencji dyskutowali o swoim dziedzictwie niematerialnym, i będziecie się wspólnie bawili i tańczyli.
And that you will have this here at this conference. You will have the chance to discuss about your heritage, and have fun, dance together.
Życzę Wam, żebyście mieli wielkie doświadczenie miłości tutaj i życzliwości.
I wish you to get the experience of love and
po prostu kochajcie się.
Yes, love each other.
No. Małopolskie spotkanie z folklorem międzynarodowe uważam za otwarte.
International Meetings with Folklore in Myślenice is officially open.
Thank you very much. Because during the festival we also have, as you know, the IOV Word Youth Congress, and we have a member of the youth section of the IOV, Luba Petrova Morgan. She's working with me and the other members of the youth commission to prepare the congress. We're working for a whole year to do something special, something what is very important for Małopolska region, for our festival, and also for all youth from around the world. Luba?
Welcome to the 5th IOV Word Youth Congress. Microphones. The first thing I need to actually talk about, as one of the organizers, is just a little bit of housekeeping. For the first time, we're actually going to be streaming this congress. We're trying to do this in order to include people who cannot be here and to reach the rest of our member base. As well as this year, unlike previous years, instead of a paper journal, we're going to be doing a multimedia journal, which will include a lot of photos and videos, presentations, summaries of discussions, highlights of performances, resolutions, mission statements, bylaws, as well as lots of impressions and feedback. So please do expect people to come and ask you lots of questions, because we do want to include as many people as possible within this journal. So we also would like to ask that if anyone from the youth or else is interested in helping with the journal, both for collecting data during the Congress, as well as putting it together after, as part of the editorial team, to just let me know at any point during the Congress. I also have to mention a few standard disclaimers, which is to please let me know if you do not wish to be photographed or videoed at any point, and we will do our best to accommodate. Second, as a bit of a general IOV youth business, we have been collecting details of our internal member database that is not available to the public. To clarify, you may receive promotional materials from IOV Youth, but we will not be passing this information to any third parties. This data we're actually currently using to create an interactive map. So at any point, please come up to a member of the staff here to let them know your details in case you haven't done so. More from the IOV Youth work will be given to you actually from Oyuna, who is our Vice Chair in Communications, during her 2-year report later in the week. But for now, it is my absolute amazing pleasure to introduce our speakers who will be coming up. Ali and Joanna, can you please join me on the stage? Our first speaker is Ali Khalifa, who was already introduced as the IOV World President. But he is so much more than that. He's a poet. He has collections of poems in Arabic that have been translated in French, Portuguese, English, and Italian. He's also an academic, a researcher in the area of folk art and folk culture. Several studies in folklore he has completed, such as the amazing and impactful one on heel divers and song and dance in Bahrain, which is why he also has an honorary doctorate degree for his many contributions to research from the USA. He's also the editor-in-chief of Folk Culture, which is published in 6 languages, 3 of which in print. If anyone would like a copy, please contact me at any point, and I will create a list and you'll receive a free copy of this journal. Ali started in IOV with Alexander Weigel at the very beginning, 1979. So he's been there and he knows exactly the entire journey. So here's to Ali. Welcome.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends from all over the world, I welcome you to the International Organization of Folk Art IOV World Youth Congress in Krakow, a beautiful city that reminds me of love and friendship. You are in one of the European Union leading countries in the terms of heritage, civilization, and contributions of heritage, and its people are among the most peace-loving in the world. I am pleased to convey the greetings of IOV Executive Board and their pride in the successful organization of this Congress. We have great hopes to the young people and their efforts to bring change. The slogan "Time to Change" was launched at the General Assembly with the support of the members. It signified that the next 4 years will be a time to comprehensive change, a time to recommit to our vision and achieve our goals in light of the challenging circumstances in the world around us. I doubt that anyone fails to realize the magnitude of the challenges facing all cultures, religious, races, and languages as a result of conflicts among sects and races and politics of the dominant hegemony and accusations. These challenges leave heritage one of the most important components of culture we have. Our hopes lie in the IOV's youth, whom you present, and in young people playing a vital role in the course of events. Today, we invite every branch of the organization, regardless of size, of geographic location, to take action to preserve material and intangible heritage which are inspired. We need organized and systematic efforts based on good governance. The IOV leadership seeks to achieve this quickly by recognizing the organization branches in every region of the world, and by strengthening the IOV's activities in the international arena under the umbrella of UNESCO and collaboration with the partner organization and the governments of sponsoring countries. We hope the organization of this Congress will help to improve the IOV. I would like really to thank the organizer and the supporter, and to commend the chair and members of the IOV Polish branch for their work over the years. We began working to enhance the IOV role months ago. I call on you to support our efforts to make changes by supporting the IOV's branches in your respective countries, by improving the role of folk bands, and by presenting your observation and suggestions regarding the change. We need your youthful energy. We need your youthful energy. We need your youthful energy to flow into the root of this tree, so that it will be fruit. I thank you and wish you every successful with this Congress. Thank you very much.
I would actually now ask Professor Jean Novak if she would be able to come to the stage. So the Congress participants know that about a week ago they were sent information about one of the workshops we're running, which will take a bit more of your private time. And Professor Novak is going to explain exactly what she's expecting you to do.
Thank you very much. It is an honor to be able to participate in such an unprecedented event here in Myślenice. Actually, I'm already beginning to feel the spirit of inter-festivals that was actually presented to us yesterday by Dr. Joanne. On Sunday, I will have an opportunity to share with you my reflections, my experiences, and my background at the closing ceremony. However, today I'd like to remind those of you who are participants of the World Congress that you will be involved in an activity that you have already heard about, which is known as the Multicultural Square activity. The Multicultural Square activity is where each of you will be receiving a square today, and hopefully you have already brought some pictures or some objects or identifiable pieces that explain or express who you are. You are to glue on the multicultural square these pieces. They can be pictures, they can be words, they can be anything that expresses who you are, what you are, and how you reflect upon your own life. So I'm just going to give you an example. This is like my multicultural square. You can have about 7 items, you can have 3 items, you can have up to 10 items. So it represents sort of who I am. What we will be doing on Sunday after the ending of the conference is that each of you, and I believe there's about 30 of you, will be presenting your square. So you will have about 1.5 to 2 minutes to talk about who you are and what really reflects the type of person you are, your culture, your background, what you like to do. So please take the time in the next few days, think about this as you go to all your conference meetings. Maybe you can add different little pieces. It can be pictures from magazines, it can be just symbolic representations. So if family is critical to you, it doesn't have to be a picture of your family, but it can be something that represents what is really significant to you. What we are going to do at the end of the Congress is collect the squares, and they will become our multicultural quilt. So that then it becomes sort of, as the family grows together, we all become one within forming our differences, but then we will also see a lot of our similarities. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me anytime today, and I can give you more information. So those of you who are participants in the Congress, you will be receiving your square. I know Peter says that he will have them ready for you, so you can start working on your project. And in the biblioteca, in the library, you can actually pick up your squares, and there will be glue and any other pieces of necessities that you will need. So thank you for your attention, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is also a very special speaker, Dr. Joanna Ziadowicz. She has a PhD in humanities in the field of ethnology, Institute of Ethnology and Cultural Anthropology from the University of Krakow. She has a master's diploma in cultural studies. She was the winner of the 11th edition of the Polish National Center for Cultures competition for the best PhD dissertation in the area of cultural sciences. She has numerous publications, notably of which is her monography, Festum Folkloricum, Folklore Performativity in Contemporary Culture, on intercultural folklore festivals. She is a lecturer at the Institute of Culture, a researcher, area expert at the Foundation Observatory of the Living Culture, and her main areas of professional interest and fields of previous publications include interdisciplinary applied studies on the cultural heritage and cultural memory, providing particularly for intangible heritage, transformation of tradition, trends of changes in folklore and in the folk culture, synergy, and folkloristic simulcrest. Welcome, Joanna.
Thank you very much. Can I ask for presentation? Okay. Thank you very much. This is a really great honor for me that I can here to speak. Firstly, I would like to really apologize for my English. It's not so good, but I try to manage. So if it's not possible, then I can just talk. But I had a lot of pictures and a lot of and some films to show, because the best showing intangible, how to show intangible, you can't express it by words. The best is showing. So this is why I would like to. All right. All right. Intangible cultural heritage as an inherent part of the present. We can treat it like the trait of intercultural understanding and guarantee of sustainable development. Intangible cultural heritage is all about people. So, in pictures I choose, we can see people practicing their traditions in specific context. The photography on the right shows the integration and intergeneration, actually, situation, while the photography on the left shows the intercultural situation. First, it is a situation of traditional Highlanders wedding, and that is not the performance situation. This is the real one. This is, how we can say, a live practice. We can see on the photograph, on this photography, 3 generations: grandfather, mother, and the daughter, who are on the situation of wedding. They have their own traditional dress, and these are not costumes, these are real dresses. And the second situation, it is performative one. This is the stage, and this is actually the intercultural performance, intercultural music band, which try to play intercultural show. Both quoted dimensions are crucial for intangible cultural heritage alive. And this is the point. We can't talk about intangible cultural heritage without transmission, primarily from generation to generation, within the certain cultural group, but nowadays, more and more often, also intercultural transmission. In other words, not only intangible heritage, because any heritage, we can say any heritage, doesn't really exist if it's not in constant circulation, if it is not an inherent part of the present. Here, before I present you selected examples of intangible cultural heritage functioning in Poland, not just for itself, and even not just as a modern inspiration, which is often torn from the context, but as a part of contemporary social tissue, social structure. I will briefly explain the definition and the resulting broader theory of heritage I have adopted. Right? I mean here directly so-called a new heritage philosophy that is firmly associated with critical, interpretative, interdisciplinary applied heritage studies. According to this, heritage is exactly understood as the presence of the past in contemporaneity. This presence can be varied. And what is important, this is a conscious presence. Because heritage is about awareness. As wrote Pomian, our Polish scientist, there is no heritage without heritage awareness. Today, heritage and consequently also the tradition has become a conscious good, we can say. It's us who decide what is a heritage. We are doing it when we endow in it with meaning. When it starts being important to us, worth cultivating, and when from some reasons we want to retain chosen fragments of the past in our present life. Then we start to talk about our heritage, my heritage. It changes the matter radically because we are beginning to identify with. And this is what I want to propose you in our workshop, which we will have after the break, my heritage. So this is why heritage is about identity. And today, identity is much often understood like a cultural project. It is a way of thinking about yourself, and this is more a variable process which is changing depending on the time, space, and experiences. We can say that it is a dynamic project. By developing this thread, heritage is much more open set, pro-development resource, building our identity, then hermetically closed collection or registry, archives of goods. What's more, with reference to Ashford, heritage is a cultural concept. It is a socio-cultural construct which is created in the everyday social element. Otherwise, this meaningful reservoir of cultural resources is constructed interactively and does not functioning in a vacuum cut off from global cultural and intercultural influences. So heritage is a complex, dynamic, discursive space. This, in turn, corresponds with Nahodil tradition theory. He distinguished two parts of tradition. Tradere, it means tradition process, to hand on, to pass along, and traditum, what is being passed on, a content of the message. Tradere is active, dynamic, so changing part, and traditum is much more constant. Finally, must be somebody who will be transmitting and who always will be doing it for some reasons and in some conditions. So we came here to another thing. It is extremely important who will be doing it, for whom, and what for. So even it is heritage, it is open set, it doesn't mean chaos, complex mix, or a hybrid. Because it is always some process of internalization by some groups, some communities, and even some kind of preventive censorship. After this introduction, I know that it can be a little bit long. It is, I think, much easier to understand UNESCO intangible cultural heritage definition, because intangible cultural heritage, understood as a presence of the past in contemporary, it is nothing else than living culture. Living, so incessantly changing cultural practice without petrification. And now I would like to show you some examples of a live practice, intangible cultural heritage practice, and also because organizers of this Congress asked us to think about how does the modern world interfuse or connect with tradition. How does tradition inspire contemporary activities in various spheres of life? So I choose some examples. I start from this one. I hope. actually some project, action, campaign, or even some kind of modern performance. Sorry. Okay. This is some kind of street action, like flash mobs and performances, popularizing project. Wytnij chałupca. I can't explain what is chałupca. You can see it on the film. This is cyclical action, a joint undertaking of student song and dance ensembles initiated in 2010 by the Song and Dance Ensemble of Warsaw University of Technology. Firstly, the project reached Warsaw, student folk ensembles, and subsequently it expanded to the whole of Poland. And now, October 7th, is like a national day of folk dance. So these are the actions. In a YouTube description of the first edition, we can read, we will collide the context of the metropolitan situation of everyday life with folk aesthetics. Find us and show us what you can do. Remember to wytnij chałupca, but I can't translate it. So now I think you know what is chałupec. So this is the one example. And I even think that it's better, as I said, intangible, it's better to show it than to talk about. This is exactly in the center of our capital, Warsaw. All right. And the second example, it is about ethno design. We observe now a huge dump of, let's say, ethno designers. This is a real phenomenon because we can observe a new category, no longer a tailor of folk artist or craftsman, artisan, but ethno-fashion artists, or even ethno-fashionistas, who want to call them like that. Some of them have already good known in specific spheres, like in traditional local spheres, but also on the folk stage performances, communities, and but what is most important, this kind of ethno-fashionistas, they own today already their own branded salons or even folk ateliers. One of them, which I want to present, is well-established brand of Aneta Larisa Knap from here, from Małopolska region, and her brand Folk Design. Knap, because became famous among others from her traditional Highlander footwear, kierpce. This is a traditional footwear from natural leather, to which she added health. She is also famous from jeans with the folk Highlander stem of, we call it parzenica, a heart-shaped pattern of the traditional handicraft characteristics of the decorative art of the Polish Highlanders, often found embroidered on the upper front side of men's trousers. We can say that this is the most recognizable decorative pattern in the Podhala region. What was innovative was that Knap made jeans with the stem both for men and women. Breaking in this kind of inspiration, we can talk about breaking through the barriers, creating, let's say, a unisex folk garment. And here, the best emanation and space for this kind of practices are increasingly popular ethno-fashion shows, where we can distinguish already categories: more traditional, regional, organized at local communities, events, and directly, let's say, modern folk ethno-fusion, dedicated, for example, to world music stage or even to pop music celebrities. On this slide, we can see a poster of a cyclic. Yes, the slide of a cyclic event organized among others by Larisa Knap and her atelier. This year, this is a cyclic folk fashion show, but this year they directly call it tradition like a diamond. And what's more, they want to be the Guinness record in a folk dress. People collect in one place with a folk dress. The second poster promotes a great exhibition of Norwegian and Polish contemporary design tradition inspired the logic of the local. It took place this year in International Cultural Center in Krakow from April to June. The exhibition was based on the idea of sustainable, reflective, responsible ethno-design and trendy nowadays, even slow or we can say eco-design, as well as on the idea of vernacularism. Vernaculus from Latin is native, familiar, domestic. Thus, vernaculism means programming referring in new works to local, timeless architectural tradition, local solutions, respect to the context of the cultural environment. For example, selection of traditional solids, materials, native colors, etc. In the description of the exhibition, we could read: the exhibition presents contemporary design in Poland and Norway, which has become one of the top areas of culture, playing an important role in the foreign promotion of the two countries. One of the main trends in both Polish and Norwegian design is the use of vernacular tradition in the context of techniques and materials, as well as invoking the conception of sustainable development. The exhibition is an attempt at showing mutual Polish-Norwegian correlations and affinities in design from the last 15 years. The issue is illustrated by specific works of Polish and Norwegian designers, already awarded and recognized in the world or most recent ones. What's more, the display will include Polish exhibits from the Ethnographic Museum in Krakow and Norwegian items from the Folk Museum Soresborg Trøndelag, exemplifying traditional crafts, contemporary source of inspiration both in shaping new forms and in the philosophy and strategy of today's design. And at the end, I would like to show one more film. Intercultural situation, cross-cultural fertilization, which allows, for example, in creative forms of performing arts, diversity and unity to coexist. The great space for this kind of practices can be, of course, in intercultural folk festivals, like here in Myślenice, where we can observe both at the public, so scenic, as well as at the backstage dimensions, diverse folk cross-fertilization. In my PhD field studies, which was about festivals, I concentrated mainly to folk cross-fertilization and folk fusion. The main objective of the book was to study to which extent particular, on one hand, well-directed, and on the other hand, unreal, festive, ludic, and ritualized intercultural folkloric practices can constitute an interactive response to the alienation and passivity of a human being in the contemporary world. And of course, his lack of sense of being a part of community. Intercultural folkloric festivals as syncretic structural organization systems of intangible cultural heritage in the current era of increasing globalization could have the power of an interactional remedy, let's say like that, on one side to an excessive individualization, on the other to the universalization and unification. Constituting a bridge between cultures, they awake from lethargy the participants of those events and they predispose them for being active. They motivate to the cognition, comparison, and attempts to understand, to an interaction, transaction that could have as an effect acceptation and integration, but also polemic and controversy, negation, competition, and sometimes even conflict, which when leading to mediation and negotiation could also be created. When describing the words and interwords of folklore that develop during festivals, I introduced the category of the festival interfolklore created within these words. It is a dynamic intercultural flow and exchange of cultural symbols, patterns, and artifacts of festival participants. In my opinion, interfolklore allows for a better understanding of the mechanism of interactions, including their course and outcomes, among members of the intercultural festival community. Interfolkloric dialogue in action always results in exchange, transition, and transformation. At the same time, it becomes an opportunity to consolidate and to manifest one's own cultural identity and declared values. In a situation of a multiplied and exposed spectacle, those festivals open a way to interpret a contemporary culture as a performance. It is understood as an active show and a message at the same time. Realization, rendition, action, and transfer suspended between dromena. Dromena is like a happening, an acting and act, and the drama and performance, played action, that have always a special intention. This specific succession of performances can constitute a guide on a cultural diversity as well as a representation of a sociocultural reality. Okay, conclusion. Intangible cultural heritage is all about people, so intelligent and responsible investment on intangible cultural heritage directly benefits communities, helps in strengthening identity as well as cultural diversity, skill development and empowerment, developing creative enterprise and generating new resources. And that is fulfilling sustainable development goals. What's more, in a case of intangible cultural heritage, it's all about people, but it's all about community, dialogue, integration, exchange and cooperation. The best it is shown in one old African proverb, more or less we can translate, if you want to reach somewhere fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go with the others. So I truly believe we will achieve it at this Congress. Thank you very much for your attention.
I'm just going to speak for 5 minutes, just to kind of close off this initial session. So the last thing that we just need to mention is to, well, tell you what we are, because this is the Youth Congress. And so first I'm going to speak a little bit about what is IOV Youth, where it started, and then I'm going to tell you about what we're actually doing during this Congress, which is important for the participants sitting before me. IOV Youth began as an idea at the IOV General Assembly in Greece in 2007. Similar to UNESCO rules, youth members are those aged to and including 35 years old. The youth was formally established in 2008 at the United States General Assembly in Utah. A chair was elected to represent the youth before IOV World, which is how our relationship started. And the first Congress was held immediately in 2008. The next Congress was hosted by China in 2010, which is when many of the Asian sections joined the youth. The third Congress was in Sweden in 2012, where myself representing the Bulgarian section, Swedish members and Brazilian members, put forward a proposal to formally establish the IOV Youth Commission, which is what we have today. A global board to help youth sections around the world and to relieve the pressure from the up until then lone chair. The entire Congress of over 100 people from over 35 countries came together to make the proposal a reality in just 6 short days. A structure was created, agreed, nominations put forth, and people voted in. Following the Swedish Congress, there was the Youth Congress in Brazil in 2015, and the youth special meetings at the IOV World General Assembly this past November in Italy. Since then, we have a working website, social media accounts, we have published the IOV magazine, and much, much more. This Congress, with its theme of folk fusion, intangible cultural heritage, and the inspiration by folklore, is organized to actually show a balance of who we are in IOV Youth. A balance between research and the practical aspects of folklore. The lectures you heard today, as well as the workshops, presentations, and many things coming. Our setting is during a festival. We will employ many concerts, workshops, and hands-on experiences, as well as have presentations over the next few days. We will also be working together to form a more concrete long and short-term plans and goals so we can steer the future of IOV World Youth. Let it progress and let it grow. We will also be exploring our own identities, like with the multicultural squares and other workshops, as well as looking into developing a better understanding of what intangible cultural heritage means for the youth. So finally, what I would like to do is thank all of you festival participants for coming and joining us for this first session. With regard to the IOV Youth participants, we will be continuing at 12 in the library in a more private setting with the workshops and integration meetings. And for now, can I ask everyone to please go get some coffee?
Brawa!